Okay, I'm spot on weather meteorologist Matthew Euler. This is part 2 of the long range for 19 December 2016. I just didn't want to rush through this because this is all very important material. I just don't want to rush. So here, where I left off, I was talking about a review of teleconnection history. When you have a positive Arctic oscillation, a positive North Atlantic oscillation, which is forecasted currently from what we were just looking at back here. Okay, we're looking at a positive North Atlantic oscillation, a positive Arctic oscillation, and then a negative Pacific North American pattern. As I mentioned below, all three of those favor a milder Eastern North America and a colder Western North America over the next 2 weeks. All right, so that's what I wanted to relate. This is past history where different Januaries, these are the years right here listed for each case. All these years and Januaries of the past, these are the typical temperatures you get. Yellow and orange is above normal. Blue, aqua, the darker blue, even colder than normal. Okay, you can see by the scale at the bottom, it's in degrees Celsius. Or correction, degrees Fahrenheit actually. It's in degrees Fahrenheit. So just wanted to show you generally what happens when you have a positive Arctic oscillation. It's 2 degrees Fahrenheit above normal typically in a wide swath of the Midwest to the eastern United States. Florida is even warmer, plus 3 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. For the positive North Atlantic oscillation, look at the warmth here all the way up the East Coast in Januaries of the past. And see where the cooler temperatures are hanging out? The northern Rocky states, the Pacific Northwest, the West as a whole. And then if you look at the Januaries of the past for a negative Pacific North American pattern, where you typically have a trough in the east and a trough in the west and a ridge in the east with a negative Pacific North American pattern. And so you get a lot more warmth under the ridge in the east and colder than normal conditions in the west and the northern plains. So just wanted to show you the differences based on past histories of these indices being a certain positive or negative, basically the positive or negative values associated with the indices and the temperatures that have occurred as a result. All right, so the long-range final thoughts. We are looking for Southeast Virginia. We're going to be briefly colder on Friday, the 23rd of December, this Friday, and again around Saturday, the 31st of December, which is New Year's Eve. And again, there are going to be some cold shots, but it's going to be quick hitting shots, and then they're going to move off rather quickly. Maybe about a 24-hour period of cold, and then that will pivot out of here. A mild and dry, it looks mild and dry for Christmas Eve, and mild with scattered rain showers for Christmas Day. But again, I want to emphasize, this does not look like a washout Christmas Day for any outdoor type plans that you might have with family and friends. Mild conditions for southeastern Virginia with no Arctic air coming down into the eastern United States through early January. Really, the Arctic air has retreated after this shot that is coming through now, early this week. We're looking like the Arctic air is going to retreat back north into Canada. The jet stream is setting up more of a trough in the west and ridging to zonal flow of the jet stream. In that zonal flow, when we have zonal flow that extends across a greater distance, we tend to get more Pacific air, not the continental polar or the Arctic air from Canada. All right, so the jet stream configuration is setting up like that. More ridging or zonal to zonal flow here in the eastern United States. No frozen precipitation is expected across southeastern Virginia through early January. Teleconnections, as I mentioned and just showed you in the forecast, favor a mild east in a colder western United States. We are still considered to be in a weak La Nina, and that typically favors a warmer than normal, a milder eastern United States, and a colder northern plains, Pacific Northwest setup. Again, we're not expecting the La Nina to last all winter, and it certainly at this point in time is per the Southern Oscillation Index at positive 2.7. La Nina is very weak. There are signs that things may change again with Arctic air and the polar jet stream, the configuration of it, more of a trough configuration coming from Canada, not the Pacific in January. which result in the Arctic air coming in again and possibly wintry precipitation in January for Southeast Virginia. But it's going to be a mild next couple of weeks overall. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a white Christmas either this year in Southeast Virginia. Just a quick review of what we covered. We covered in the long range today, what we're looking at for the forecast, the different jet stream configurations over the period from Friday, 23 December. We looked at Christmas Eve. We looked at Christmas Day through the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and then even a sneak peek at your New Year's Eve and New Year's Day forecast for your planning purposes. Looks colder as we get closer to New Year's Eve. And then teleconnections, which are very important. We monitor these closely to see which direction they're trending. The main ones we look at are the North Atlantic Oscillation, the Arctic Oscillation, the Pacific North American pattern. Well, of course, we're always interested in the sea surface temperatures in the eastern and central equatorial Pacific waters because everything moves from west to east. So El Niños and La Niñas, they have an impact on our weather across the United States because in the mid-latitudes, the weather moves from west to east. Southern Oscillation Index, this is courtesy, by the way, of the Australian Bureau of Meteorology. So thank you to them for the latest positive 2.7 Southern Oscillation Index value. And the key again is to remember this forecast is predicting it to plummet more, going towards a negative side over time. And then the review of teleconnection histories. Google Mid-Atlantic teleconnections, and it has all these charts for whether you have a positive, negative, or neutral teleconnection, and the typical temperature patterns associated with each, which it's really great. And then there's again our summary for the long-range final thoughts. So that wraps things up for the long range today. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation, and looking forward to again sharing more exciting weather with everyone out there for the remainder of December and into the coming new year. So that's all I've got for now. This is Spot On Weather. Remember, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great Monday afternoon, everyone.